In the early 1900s, a black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma became one of the most successful economic centers in America. It was called Black Wall Street and it terrified white supremacists. In 1921, Greenwood was burned to the ground during one of the deadliest racial massacres in U.S. history. Hundreds were killed, thousands were left homeless, and for decades the truth was hidden. This video tells the real story of Black Wall Street, how it was built, why it was targeted, what happened during the Tulsa Race Massacre, and why this history still matters today. This is not just history. This is America. Watch, learn, and share so this story is never erased again. This is how Black Wall Street was built. After the Civil War, formerly enslaved black Americans searched for safety, opportunity, and independence. Oklahoma, then known as Indian Territory, became a destination. One key figure was O.W. Gurley, a black landowner who purchased 40 acres of land north of Tulsa's railroad tracks. Gurley had a radical vision for the time. A Greenwood would be black-owned, businesses would serve black customers, money would circulate within the community. This system, often described today as buying black, created extraordinary economic strength. By the 1910s, Greenwood featured over 300 black-owned businesses, 2 newspapers, schools, churches, and a public library, doctors, lawyers, and entrepreneurs, a luxury hotel, grocery stores, nightclubs, and a hospital. The dollar reportedly circulated within Greenwood up to 36 times before leaving the community. In an era of Jim Crow segregation, Greenwood wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. The racial tensions of Jim Crow America. Despite Greenwood's success, Tulsa was deeply segregated. White resentment grew as black prosperity challenged racist assumptions of the time. This was the era of a lynching as public terror, segregation laws, a white supremacy openly endorsed by politicians and newspapers that inflamed racial hatred. Many white Tulsans viewed Greenwood not as a success story, but as a threat. All it took was a spark. The incident that ignited the massacre. On May 30, 1921, a 19-year-old black shoeshiner named Dick Rowland entered an elevator operated by Sarah Page, a white teenage girl. Something happened inside that elevator, possibly a stumble or accidental contact. Sarah Page screamed. Rowland fled. The next day, a local newspaper ran an explosive headline suggesting an assault, though no evidence ever confirmed this. Rowland was arrested. A lynch mob gathered outside the courthouse. Black World War I veterans, aware of what lynchings meant, arrived to protect Rowland. A confrontation broke out. A shot was fired, and Tulsa exploded into violence.
The Tulsa Race Massacre started. From the night of May 31st into the morning of June 1st, 1921, white mobs, many deputized by local authorities, invaded Greenwood. They looted homes. They burned businesses. They shot residents in the streets. Eyewitnesses reported of people being dragged from their homes or bodies piled onto trucks, a fire spreading block by block. Some survivors described airplanes dropping incendiary devices, one of the first aerial attacks on American civilians. By the time the National Guard arrived, Greenwood was in ruins. Official figures said about 36 people were killed. Modern historians estimate the death toll may have reached 300 or more. Over 1,200 homes were destroyed. Nearly 10,000 black residents were left homeless. Not a single white rioter was convicted. Instead, Greenwood's residents were blamed. Insurance companies refused to pay claims, calling the massacre a riot. The city passed new zoning laws to prevent Greenwood from being rebuilt. Survivors received no compensation. Schools didn't teach it. Newspapers removed articles from archives. For decades, victims were told to stay silent. The destruction wiped out millions, possibly billions, of dollars in generational wealth. This loss echoes today in the racial wealth gap.
Despite everything, Greenwood residents rebuilt. By the 1930s, parts of Black Wall Street were alive again, though never fully restored. It wasn't until 2001 that Oklahoma officially acknowledged the massacre. Even today, survivors and descendants seek reparations. Mass graves are still being investigated. The story continues to reshape conversations about race, justice, and history. Greenwood stands as proof that black prosperity existed, and that it was violently taken. Most people were never taught this in school. Black Wall Street wasn't destroyed because it failed, it was destroyed because it succeeded. If this video taught you something new, like, share, and comment Remember Greenwood. History survives when we refuse to forge. Subscribe for more historical videos.